1400 years before they found this mummy. Okay?
Yeah.
They didn't know they were going to find it, right?
Yeah.
How could the prophet have known they're going to find it? In the Quran it says, and on this day, O Pharaoh, we preserved you as a sign for those who don't believe.
Yeah.
How could the Prophet Muhammad have known that? This is his prophecy. He said, towards the end of time, there'll be groups that claim to be from us. If you see them praying, you will say, these people are righteous. But they're not. He says they're the wood of the fire. This was his prophecy. They will be the wood of the fire. And if you hear of them, don't join their ranks. Imagine now. This is the Prophet Muhammad's words, peace be upon him. He predicted ISIS and terrorism. I dare people to research the signs of the end of the world in Islam. I fucking dare you to. How did he know about this?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, sahabat semuanya. Sebagai seorang podcaster yang cukup terkenal di Barat, Bek Lover juga merupakan seorang teolog. Sebagai seorang teolog atau orang yang belajar agama, Bek yang lahir dari keluarga Kristen sedari muda tidak pernah mengikuti peribadatan agama keluarganya yang menurutnya tidak masuk akal itu. Bek memilih jalannya sendiri, yakni Islam. Meski mendapat pertentangan dari orang tuanya, dia tetap teguh dengan pendiriannya dan atas apa yang ia teliti dan pelajari selama ini. Dan keyakinannya akan Islam semakin bertambah kuat ketika dia menemukan fakta bahwa beberapa ayat di dalam Al-Qur'an dan nubuat-nubuat Rasulullah SAW tentang akhir zaman itu satu persatu menjadi kenyataan dan terjadi di zaman ini.
Do you know why I accepted Islam? It was because so many scientific miracles that couldn't be explained were in that book. I challenge anyone that's listening to this. Google scientific miracles of the Holy Quran.
Seti I was the father of our friend Ramses the Great. Just like his son, he was a hugely successful pharaoh. Seti I boasts some of the finest mummification work in all of ancient Egyptian history.
Now, first of all, in the Quran, which came 1400 years before they found this mummy, okay?
Yeah.
They didn't know they were going to find it, right?
Yeah.
How could the Prophet have known they're going to find it? They did. In the Quran it says, pull it up, and on this day, O Pharaoh, we preserved you as a sign for those who don't believe.
Quran, and on this day, O Pharaoh, we preserved you as a sign for those who don't believe.
So that you may be a sign for them. His fucking fingernails, perfectly preserved.
Yeah.
How could the Prophet Muhammad have known that? Every Ramadan, I see people get up in front of the mosque and lead the prayer for the whole month. They're called Hafiz. They literally recite this book without and word for word. And if they make a mistake, there's 100, 500 people that know at least one of those verses. Like everyone knows the verses. So I've witnessed many times in the last 42 years of my life where people pray and say the whole book. That's how God protected this book. That's why to me it blew my mind away as a Muslim. We believed that every other book God sent to earth was corrupted, and we can prove it. I can historically prove it whenever you want. They were corrupted. They were altered. There are contradictions in there that don't make sense to the original 10 Commandments. How can you tell me Jesus is God and then in one verse he tells you, I'm not even good? Why are you calling me good? Only God's good. So which one is it? 10 Commandments said don't make pictures, don't make images, don't worship anything but God. But you guys are making pictures, statues, crosses, idols. Like, forget Muhammad. Explain. And I love how Christians go, well, what do the Muslims know? Because Muhammad came 600 years after Jesus. Well, how about Jesus came how many thousands of years after Moses? Who was he then to give a new rule or a new book? Your logic for that already, you cancel yourself out. They have no argument against that. For you to argue, well, why did Muhammad come after Jesus? And then who was Jesus after Moses? And that's why I love Islam. Islam says that all of these prophets worked for the same boss. You're not allowed to make images. You're not allowed to pray to anything but God. You don't pray to Saint Peter or Saint anyone. You pray to God. He doesn't share his power with anyone. I find scientific miracles in a book written by some guy in a cave that couldn't read and write. And even if he could, how the hell? There's like 100 to 200 scientific facts in that book that no one could have known. Like, for example, that the Dead Sea is the lowest point above sea level in the entire world. There was no way Muhammad could have known this. It's impossible. But then there's things that you are even more crazy, like the signs at the end of the world. The Prophet Muhammad said that towards the end of time, he predicted ISIS and terrorism. He said there will be groups that claim to be from us. This is in our prophecy. He said soon there will be those that come out from us, meaning out from the Muslims. They will grow their hair long like women's hair. Go look at the pictures of fucking ISIS, bro. They'll have long hair. He said, soon they will raise black banners, and wherever they go, they will cause fitna, meaning they will cause destruction. And when you wipe out one group, another group will pop up in its place. This is his words. He says, and you will know who they are, for they will name themselves after cities and towns. Who was the leader of ISIS? Al-Baghdadi, right?
Oh, al-Baghdadi, yeah.
This is his prophecy. He said, towards the end of time, there'll be groups that claim to be from us. If you see them praying, you will say these people are righteous. But they're not. He says they're the wood of the fire. This was his prophecy. They will be the wood of the fire. And if you hear of them, don't join their ranks. Prophet Muhammad said that towards the end of time, the buildings of Mecca would reach for the skies. If you look at Saudi Arabia today, they even built a massive clock tower. He even said, soon the time will come where the shadow of time covers the Kaaba. How did he know 1400 years ago? How did he know that he said, soon the Bedouins of our people? Look at the deserts of Arabia 67 years ago. It was this fucking sand there. And a bunch of camel riders, literally. Milking the camels and drinking the milk and eating dates. And hee-haw, motherfucker. That's what they were doing out there, okay? Today, the biggest skyscrapers in the world, where are they?
Dubai.
That's right. He said, soon the time will come where the Bedouins of our people will compete with one another to build buildings that touch the sky. He said, soon the time will come where a man becomes a woman and a woman becomes a man. And they will dress like one another. The family unit will be destroyed and the bastards will take over. Bastard children. Children born out of wedlock, they will be so full of rage, they will destroy all those that are around them. That's the fucking country we're in right now. These children are full of rage. They commit 90% of violent crime because they don't have a father. Because their mother didn't want them. They were conceived with no love, therefore they show no love to the world. They were conceived out of deadly sins, and that's why all we have from them is death and chaos. This is the bastard generation. He predicted that also.